Hello everyone, our today's lesson is about Romanticism in English literature and Byron and also his famous closet drama, Cain. And so let's get started. So it's concerning our two lectures, that's the 2nd and 3rd of April, and we have 4 main contents, so according to our syllabi, and I just connected them each other to give all information about this topic. And the first topic is Romanticism as a new trend in English literature and its main characteristics and representatives. The Lake School poets, so we will have general information about this movement and also representatives of the Lake School. And the second topic is about Byron as the English revolutionary romanticist and his literary activities. And the third one, the major themes in Cain and explanation of its structure. And fourth, analysis of characters, natural and social world of Cain. And I don't know if it's recording or not. Yes. So Romanticism in English literature. We have several headings here: great social changes, liberty, critical attitude to bourgeois reality, and a protest against classicism, a return to nature, an interest in folklore and mythology, and no uniformity. So these headings can help you to systemize what you learn and can help you to remember what we are talking about in your revision and also in your exams. So in England, great social changes caused by the coming Industrial Revolution took place at the end of the 18th century. And Romanticism was a trend in literature which appeared at the same time due to certain fundamental changes in human outlook. And liberty, beautiful and inspiring like a banner in the wind, was kept steadily before men's minds by numerous books, all read eagerly by the common people, all proclaiming the dignity of common life, all uttering a cry of protest against every form of oppression. And the essential feature of Romanticists was their critical attitude to bourgeois reality and capitalist civilization with its new forms of oppression. Striving for a primitive life and a return to nature, and interest in folklore and mythology, a protest against classicism. So there was no uniformity in Romanticism. It was represented by such diverse poets as Walter Scott, William Wordsworth, and Robert Southey, George Gordon Byron, Percy Bysshe Shelley, John Keats, and so on. And sorry. Sorry for pausing. So, the Lake School poets. The Lake School was the main, the main trend, the main thing that we have to talk about in Romanticism in English literature. And they have several representatives. They are main representatives of Lake School. And the first one is William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, then Robert Southey, George Byron, Shelley, and John Keats that I talked the previous slide. Other romanticists appeared to be always writing about the past. So except Byron, other romanticists appear to be always writing about the past life. And the Lake School poets, Wordsworth, Coleridge, as you see here, were eager revolutionaries in their use. They sympathized with those who fought against injustice and tyranny. Later, they withdrew into the quiet of the country and idealized the patriarchal way of life. Aloofness from the life of their time and mysticism made their poetry vague and abstract. But today we will talk about Byron and his main play, Cain. Of course, he had several plays and interesting writings, but I chose Cain because we also had the Paradise Lost by John Milton, and I want you to make the comparative analysis between these two plays, and that's why I'm so sorry. So. Again, sorry for pausing. And we are talking about Byron. He was a champion of liberty, and he was the main representative of English Romanticism, especially the second generation of Lake School poets. And he struggled against despotism, and he was a revolutionary romanticist. And also he was proud, tragic, and melancholic. He had a melancholic personality. And the poet was born in an ancient aristocratic family in London, and he was given a good education at Harrow Public School and Cambridge University. At 21, he was by right seated in the House of Lords. So Byron's literary career began while he was at Cambridge, and Hours of Idleness was his first volume of verse, and contained a number of lyrics dealing with love, regret, and parting. And also you can see here Childe Harold Pilgrimage, the Gower or the Corsair, Lara, Don John, and Cain. But we will talk about especially the play Cain, and I hope that it's lost pausing. Sorry again. So we are talking about the Cain, narrated from the third person, objective point of view, and closet drama. Okay, so we have three headings. Please make some notes because when I make the PPT, I just write here key phrases, keywords, and then I explain these keywords. But when you prepare for the exam or revision, you just learn these key phrases. But I want you to make the notes that I'm talking about these key phrases, and you will learn about the explanation of these key phrases, not just learn by heart the names or headings. Okay, so please make some notes about these explanations that I will tell now. And so I sent these play to you a few days ago. I hope that you all read this play. And so we find the story of Cain and Abel in the fourth chapter of Genesis. But here we will discuss according to the three acts. And the narrated form is the third person, and it's in an objective point of view, and whereby the narrator remains outside the characters and reports their speech and actions, so that the thoughts and feelings involved are merely suggested by the action and the dialogue. And And Cain is a drama, but it's a closet drama. And what is the closet drama? Byron has stated that it was not written for the stage and so should correctly be called a closet drama. So if the writer explains that in his statements or writing that I write this drama just not for the stage, so it means it's closet drama. But if the play is written for the stage, so it's just play or drama. But the closet drama is such kind of dramas we call, and it's nonetheless the dramatic work. In other words, Byron has presented this incident and the events surrounding it in another medium, so that it's revealed or distanced in an entirely new mode of presentation, the dramatic mode. So in this play, in this drama, Cain is a very self-conscious character, and I will explain you about these characteristics or personality in the second slide. So the natural world of Cain. So it's a very self-conscious character, and we can easily see this drama primarily through his eyes. His constant, detailed descriptions provide a very real visual dimension for us. We note that a few stage directions are necessary to help the reader visualize the action on stage, but that nonetheless careful and imaginative reading of this play cannot help but provide the necessary visual dimension. So Byron has created a new world for this drama, a world at once more comprehensive and more complex than is found in Genesis, and a world that is not nearly so remote from us as is the land without paradise of the biblical myth. And in the world of Cain, we can see elements which correspond to those we find around us, the rivers, the plants, the fruits, or the insects, the animals, natural phenomena of sunsets, then clouds and stars, and though not scaled like our own, all are recognizable. So too are those scientific details concerning the planetary system, such as the prospect of Earth with its moon, or the archaeological details of previous life forms. And one of the main effects of these changes then has been to create a high degree of empirical reality to this fictional world. If you read the original text, you will know what I mean. And in other words, philosophical reality, it's a relationship between the world of the myth and the empirical and experiential world, with its purpose to explain. And while these bends are at best tenuous, they must nevertheless exist. So hence, by infusing such a high degree of empirical reality into the natural world of Cain, Byron has strengthened and emphasized the parallels that the reader must see between our own experiential world and the empirical world of the first family. And also, no, sorry, and the most important effect has been to create a high degree of what we might call a philosophical reality. That is to say, it's Cain's relationship to the universe of this play. In an article entitled Bionic Drama, The phrase Bionic Drama, it means that the special style of the drama according to Byron's literary style. And here we can easily see realize this Byronic drama inside of this closet drama. And the social world of Cain, we also have here 3 headings: community of values, relationship with the historical situation, and mortal nature's nothingness. So I will explain now these 3 headings again. We find now a real sense of community in the biblical account of the events surrounding the murder of Abel. And of course, Byron points out in his preface that no mention is made in the Bible of the wives of Cain and Abel, and you know Abel is his brother. And in fact, it's only after Cain has left for the land of Nod that we find mention of his having a wife at all. But Byron has created a genuine community in Cain, living in their new-found world close by the Garden of Eden, a community bound together by family ties, and for all save Cain by a community of values established and maintained by the Word of God. And so all here we can see manifested before them the kingdom of God, both in their new-made world and more importantly in the forbidden paradise with its walls and guardian. Most of this family recognizes the dominion of God and are content to abide by his hierarchical system of values. This allows them to structure their lives and to orientate themselves in their daily affairs by putting meaning and purpose into their existence. The proper worship of the Lord God, the glorification of his works, and the peopling of his earth. In order to create this community, Byron has had to make changes to the original story, both in the number of participants and in the other parts of the play. And the most obvious and most important changes made those we find in the nature of the main character, those named Byron took as the title of this work. In this play, Cain is an intelligent, sensitive man with an independent spirit, and though at the same time we observe that he is a loving father and husband, and a compassionate patriarch, and in the first act at least a tolerant and understanding son and brother. So now Cain is no longer the moody or a petulant character that we find in the Bible, but a more complex, more believable character altogether. Byron reveals his concept of Cain in a variety of ways. I would like to talk about Cain's main character and the main side of his character. One very important aspect of Cain's social situation is the fact that he is a husband and a father, and that he is marriage and his fatherhood are of great importance to him. The reader cannot help but feel sympathetic towards such a sincere and devoted husband and wife. And when to this we add Cain's very deep concern over the suffering and death that he and Ada must protect to their hires, and we must admit that Byron has made a Cain a human and compassionate character of admirable stature. And in this drama, we also have here other characters, like Lucifer is a devil, is not concerned to win Cain over to his side, to enroll him as one of his own satanic school, but rather to gain his confidence for the express purpose of revealing mortal nature's nothingness. So here the third heading. We shall see later that he uses considerable skill in arguing to this end, and shifting this position several times, contradicting previous statements and appealing to emotion, so that Lucifer serves an essential function in the play, though it does not arise his rebelliousness against God, which he uses as a means of expressing a sympathetic identification with Cain, but more importantly, out of his capacity to discover Cain to himself. So in this case, he can most certainly be seen as a Lucifer or a bearer of light. And this next slide is about the Cains as an heroic figure. It's difficult to arrive at any definite conclusion as to the motivation that drives the biblical Cain to murder his brother Abel. For as we have already seen, the account is short and terse, and lacking in any specific details as to characterization, but it has long been assumed that Cain's actions stem out of the jealousy he feels when Abel's sacrifice is accepted, and he is rejected by the Lord God. So the account states only that Cain was very verse, and when the Lord did not respect his offering, and that he showed his feelings in this outward manner, and causing the Lord to question him as to the cause of his anger. So he is angry, he is jealous, he loves his family, with family, his wife, sister, and son, then hates his mother, hates his father, and protests the God, because he thinks that the God is corruptible, so he loves the good things, luxury things, but he doesn't appreciate little small things. And so of course it's not Cain's own opinion. Of course it's Byron's opinion, and it's romanticism. So don't just look for the original Bible motifs here, because the original Bible motive is quite different. The reason why Cain killed his brother Abel is different in Bible motif, but here it's romanticism, and it depends on the writer, so the writer can change it by himself, so according to his own muse. And so we talked about his angry, jealous, and also if we consider Byron's Cain, we observe that he is at great pains to establish the motivation for the catastrophe that occurs in this drama, and that Cain's motives here are much more complex than the mere jealousy that we find in the Bible account. And so So Byron's Cain is set off from the social order of this play from the very start. For the play opens as the family are at their morning prayers, and it's quickly made evident that Cain is not a party to these orisons, and that this self-exclusion is not a mere whim, but is seated in a profound doubt as to the beneficence of God. The tenor of the family prayers is such as to attribute to God the power and the knowledge due to the Creator, and at the same time to recount the details of the fall in a way that reflects harshly on themselves. And Cain reserves the right to use the knowledge of good and evil, and so dearly bought, and in his judgment, knowledge is good and life is good, and how can both be evil? So that Cain is socially alienated is quite appear, for though the members of this first society are bound together by family ties and by their common plight, these bonds serve only to unite Cain to the rest of the family for the sake of mutual conversions of his relatives. So for his relatives and family members, and so here Cain is forced to find some other source of value by which to orientate himself in life, and so prior to the opening of this play, he has set himself to oppose the God-ordained system of values, and herein lies his only anchor point in life, for his physique emerges are how to say are dissipated in his opposition to the injustice, so that his life is centered in the recognition of God in the same way that it's for Adam, but whereas Adam identifies with God, Cain identifies in opposition to him. Both men need to see the forbidden paradise, Adam as a reminder of God's grace and his own shortcoming, Cain as a reminder of God's injustice and his own integrity. So, and now I think you all made some notes about these headings, and he's angry because his mother Eve ate the knowledge tree, and that's why they are not immortal now. Then he's jealous because God accepted Abel's sacrifice but not Cain's. So he loves his family, his wife and son. He hates his mother because of the first sin, and he hates his father because of not to prevent this first sin when his mother died, and protests the God because he thinks that he is corruptible. And acts of the play. Cain is an angry guy in the first act, He is mad at God for planting the tree of knowledge. He is mad at his mother Eve for being tempted by the serpent and taking fruit from the tree of knowledge. He is mad at his father Adam for not taking fruit from the tree of knowledge. He is even mad at his brother Abel for not being as angry as he is. And the drama opens with Adam, Eve, and their children Cain, Abel, Zillah, and Ada offering God a sacrifice. While everyone else praises God, Cain stays silent, and he complains that he won't thank a God who has denied him immortality. Later in the act, Cain meets Lucifer, the devil. He tells Lucifer that even though the fruit of knowledge was eaten, he still doesn't know what this is and fears it. And in Act 2, Lucifer takes Cain into the abyss of space, where Cain realizes how small and insignificant he is. Next, the two travel back in time, where Cain sees Earth in its former beauty. Finally, Lucifer brings Cain to the gates of Hades. And in Act 2 and Scene 2, Cain is horrified by shadowy Hades, the realm of death. Lucifer explains that the phantoms flying around are the spirits of beings that God made and destroyed before he made mankind. All of this disgusts Cain, so much so that he simply wants to die and get it over with. He asks to stay in Hades, but Lucifer tells him he cannot, at least not yet. They return to the earth. And in Act 3, Cain and his sister and wife Ada watch their sleeping son Enoch. And Cain says that Enoch smiles because he is still too young and innocent to know that paradise is lost. He briefly considers killing his son to save him from misery, but backtracked when Ada chastises him. Abel asks Cain to join him at a sacrifice. A column of fire ascends from Abel's altar into heaven, but wind destroys Cain's altar. Cain is happy to see the fruits scattered off of his altar, but Abel attempts to remake Cain's altar anyway. They argue, and then Cain strikes Abel down. Before Abel dies, he asks God to forgive Cain. And Adam and Eve curse Cain and banish him from their home. Ada begs the family to forgive Cain, but they refuse. And the angel of the Lord enters and curses Cain as punishment. The earth will never bear fruit when Cain attempts to farm it. He will also be a figurative forced to wander the earth forever. And Ada begs the angel for mercy, saying that others will want to kill Cain for his crime. The angel puts a mark on Cain's brow to warn others not to harm him. And Cain begs for death instead, but the angel refuses. Cain and Ada then live together with their son. So this is just a simple short plot summary of this play, because you should know about the plot summary and about the hierarchic actions of this play. And the last act is Cain strikes Abel down, and then it finished with Cain and Ada live together with their son. So the analysis of the play is so interesting. Cain is a special kind of play called a closet drama, as I said before, and this is not traditional play. And they should be read either silently to oneself or aloud in a small seated group of people, but not on the stage. Byron named his play Cain, a mystery because he wanted it to conform to the language of ancient mystery plays. And mysteries were plays written in medieval Europe that retold stories from the Bible. However, unlike the medieval mystery, which were largely reverential to God, Byron's mystery has a decidedly ironic undertone to it. And so it was just like the parody of the mystery drama. The character Lucifer openly questions whether God is evil, pointing out that the Maker destroys as much as he creates. In addition, Byron's version of Lucifer demonstrates to Cain how insignificant man really is and how little he really knows or understands about the universe. So it's also the ironic character of the original Lucifer in the Bible motif. This man cannot truly comprehend the full vastness of time and space was a major philosophical undercurrent that ran through numerous writers' texts during the late 18th and early 19th centuries, and Byron battled with this dilemma in many of his compositions. And before Byron even began to write Cain, he jotted down some lines in his journal and titled them Sought for a Speech of Lucifer in the Tragedy of Cain. One of those lines read, Were death and evil, would I let thee live? So this line never actually made it into the finished version of Cain. Still, it's a great line for us to consider because it gets to the heart of a key message in Byron's play. Eternal life is a far worse punishment than death. So, in the comparative analysis of the play, I would like you to compare it with The Paradise Lost by John Milton, because both plays are based on the first scene. But the Paradise Lost is all about the first scene, and Cain is the result of the first scene. So please, just use your own approach, use your own style, own analytic style to analyze these two plays for our seminar. And your home task is analyze the character of Cain and Abel. So they are just binary oppositions. They are good and bad, good and evil, and compare the original Bible motif and Byronic motif. I would like you to know about the real motif of the first scene and the changed motif of first scene in Paradise Lost and also in Cain. And that's all. I hope that you enjoyed our lesson. Thanks a lot for watching and see you on our seminar. Bye bye.